Oh my God, what has just happened to the stock market? The QQQ down 2%, the S&P 500 down 1.62%. So the reason for this massive decrease, whether you like it or not, is due to the well, I think it's due to the Trump tariffs. Obviously, you don't know what the exact reason is because the market behavior is based on just buying and selling and sentiment. But the only real big news that we've had to basically impact this is the Trump tariffs. And if we go into the S&P 500, we see that for the day, it did go all the way down to about £91. This is the fund, so it's not actually, so it's just tracking as best it can the S&P 500. And then since the announcement of the Mexico deal, it did start increasing again. It's still down for the day. Basically, the whole market was panicking about tariffs being implemented for imports from Mexico, Canada, China due to like higher inflation, lower earnings. As a lot of these companies do outsource manufacturing in these countries, especially from China. That's why we see Apple down big today. So if we go on to the one day, it has just gone down, and we haven't really seen that much recovery from Apple when it was announced that these tariffs were being put on hold, because they were only talked about for Mexico and Canada. We still have China that hasn't actually had the negotiations yet. So, and Apple is a big importer from China. China make all of their iPhones, MacBooks. So, yeah, it's not a good one for Apple. I'm glad I'm staying away from it. Obviously, this is not financial advice. Please do your own research when investing in the stock market. Your investments can go down as well as up. So, what's happening with Tesla? Because as you guys know, I'm all in on Tesla. So, what happens to Tesla very much impacts my portfolio. A lot of you guys in the comments have been saying, what you're doing, you're being an idiot. But I just see so much future upside for Tesla that is, in my opinion, obviously not financial advice, I think it's the best risk-adjusted opportunity in the market. So, because we see the way the future's heading with self-driving cars, these Optimus robots, these just general AI, artificial intelligence, just being so big. So the opportunity is just so big. Obviously, there are loads of other companies that are going to, benefit so much from AI. But if you look at the risk of where they're positioned, and there's so much competition, the artificial intelligence game that Tesla are going after isn't really that much contested, and the companies that are contesting it are so far behind Tesla. So I see there being very little risk to Tesla actually being able to execute on this whole potential revenue field that is the full self-driving and robo taxis. Because if you look into like Microsoft, who's partnered with OpenAI, you have XAI, you have the new DeepSeek for doing like the large language models, and and we've seen that XAI has managed to catch. Obviously, it's not quite at OpenAI's levels, and even DeepSeek, OpenAI was the starter founder of this whole large language models, and I still think they're number one, but XAI and DeepSeek especially, it was that's why they had the whole DeepSeek sell off. I think they are poised to catch up quite rapidly, and with large language models, the data is widely accessible for you to train your models on. So it really is only compute power, and compute power is getting better and better and better. So, and even the models getting more efficient. Whereas the reason why I think Tesla has a lead that is a lot harder to catch up to is that the data for full self-driving, Tesla has a moat around that. They have more than 6 million cars recording the world, gathering data on driving, and no other company that's doing the full self-driving has that much data. If you look at Waymo, yes, they're already operating in full self-driving, but they've got tens of thousands of cars gathering data. Tesla has over 6 million. I think it's actually over 7 million. So yeah, Tesla is in by far the lead. Obviously, you have seen companies like Nvidia building models and building ways to get synthetic data, which is data generated by AI to sell on, but that data is never going to be as good as the real world data that Tesla is collecting. So although people will say people will think it's easy to catch up to Tesla, as long as Tesla are getting the most data in like constantly, and they're training the model, and as long as they're not compute constrained and they're able to train all of that data, they will stay in front. Because obviously people are only going to want to be in the self-driving cars regardless, say if Waymo get to a point where their cars are 10 times safer than a human, if Waymo get to 10 times safer than a human and Tesla are 100 times safer than a human driver, yes, you might still go to a Waymo because it's safer than a human driver, but a lot more people will that value that safety will want to go to Tesla because their full self-driving software is just better. So I know a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, but Tesla aren't operating." They're actually rolling out this year, and so yes, they haven't operated, as early as Waymo, but Waymo is a closed net system, only being able to operate in one particular area, whereas Tesla has, got a wild scale, widely adopted. They're obviously trying out the software in Texas right now, but they don't have to really do anything to the software to then roll it out into California and elsewhere. So yeah, what my main bull thesis from why I'm all in on Tesla. Obviously, not financial advice. I don't recommend you just to put all your money in Tesla. A lot of you would be, much better off just buying in the Nasdaq or S&P 500. So how has this sell-off affected my portfolio? So if we go into my portfolio, we see I'm currently sitting at a value of £118,000. As you guys see from my last portfolio update where I showed both my stocks and shares and my just general investment account, still got 382 shares because obviously I can't put more money in because I've used up all my ISA allowance. So we're going to have to wait till April when that resets and I get another 20k that I can put in if the Labour government doesn't change that rule in April, because they'll probably will release another budget, because they normally only do one once a year in in October time, but they can do an emergency budget in April. So fingers crossed they don't change the ISA in any way. There is some talks about them changing the cash ISA, so I will go into that on another video. But for today, we're just going to we're not going to talk about it. So yeah, I'm currently sitting at £118,000 and 382 shares of Tesla, up 59.5%. My average cost basis for Tesla is £193.95. In dollars, $250.98. It's sitting at current price of $388.73. So that's where my portfolio is sitting now. If we go over to what my portfolio has done, we see net deposits. So the amount of money I've just put into the account. I'm so glad they changed this to net deposits because before it was the amount you invested. So you could be in a position, sell it, and then reinvest it, and it would basically have your rate of return at zero because you've just reinvested in a new position. It hasn't made any change, but obviously a lot of the capital that you've used to reinvest, that is gains. So the changing it to net deposits, is a welcomed addition. Obviously the rate of return that's had mixed feelings, but I don't really mind it being there because I can actually just show you from my cost basis. So I think Trading 212 has done an amazing job of the update. So yeah, my Tesla position, if we look at the 1 week, it hasn't actually dropped down that much. So we were sitting at £123,000, and now it's gone down to £118,000. So yes, that is a lot of money. Like five grand, but when you compare it to the whole portfolio, it's not doing too badly at all. And if you actually zoom out and you look at the 3 month, like 3 months ago, my portfolio was valued at like £70,000, £80,000. So yeah, I'm really happy with the way it's going. If you look at the 1 year, you can even go back and it was £45,000. So yeah, considering 1 year ago when this portfolio was sitting at 45, in the £40,000, and now it's £118,000, that only just shows that this portfolio is going to continue to blow up. So for the end of this year, I want this portfolio to hit. Is it ambitious? Is it ambitious me saying £200,000? I want this portfolio and my other, my invest account to hit £300,000 by the end of the year. Just this portfolio, maybe £250,000. Let's be ambitious. Say £250,000 is the goal. I'm setting it now. You guys can hold me to account whether or not I actually hit it. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment any of your questions down below. I try and reply to every single comment out there. So if you want to comment, talk to me, comment down below. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.